I graduated college, I graduated medical school, I had the knowledge, I had the equipment, I had an IV started in my ankle. I had the suicide cocktail in one hand, the syringe in the other, getting ready to load it up, and the phone rings. And I gotta make a decision, she said. Do I pick up the phone? She thought, I better, because there might be somebody, if I didn't answer, who would worry and come over and interrupt. Picked up the phone, her 13-year-old son. She said, I don't know if you heard something in my voice or you had a premonition, but he said to me, and I quote, "Mom, don't do anything." So I didn't, she said. I didn't give up on the idea of suicide, but I didn't do it that day, and she said, I'll tell you why. Because I was worried that he would realize that he had spoken to me right before I did it, and he would feel guilty the rest of his life that maybe there was something he could say or do to keep me from killing myself. And it turns out there are things you can say, there are things you can do as a mental health first responder, in most cases, to stop someone from committing suicide. I said, well, how old is he now? She goes, he's 21. I said, does he know his phone call saved your life? She goes, no. How do you start that conversation? Yeah, that's the problem. It's one of the, depression and suicide, two of the last taboos. People don't speak about it, as we say down south, in polite company. They don't talk about it. I say you start the conversation by coming to the APCA Midwest Regional and talking about it. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm also middle-aged and old. Hang on. That's why I'm here. Oh, which raises the question. Comedy boy? Depression and suicide? Just exactly what qualifies you to speak about this. Well, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I did spend the night at a Holiday Inn Express last night. No, I think a comedian is a great choice, and I'll tell you why. Comedian's job is to speak truth to power on behalf of the powerless with humor. I speak truth to the power of depression and mental illness on behalf of those powerless, oftentimes in its grip, with humor. Number two, I believe that depression is hopelessness, and that where there's humor, there's hope, where there's laughter, there's life, that nobody actually dies laughing. And three, depression and suicide run in my family. It's called generational suicide. I know people who have 5 and 6 generations backward, somebody in each generation committed suicide. My grandmother committed suicide. I think I have a picture of her. There she is. It's my grandma Dixie, my mom Dixie in her lap. My mom found her. My mom got worried, couldn't raise her on the telephone, drove over to the house, and do you guys remember the milkman? Anybody? Remember, they used to deliver milk to the house, and the milk was spoiling on the stoop. That's how my mom knew something was wrong. It was the only detail my grandmother overlooked. She had written the checks for all the bills, addressed the envelopes, stamped them, put them on the counter. She pinned her will to her house coat so my mom could find it, turned on the gas on the old gas stove, sat down at the kitchen table, and she wrote this suicide note.